Hi boys and girls. If you were to combine grapes and an apple, what do you think you'd get? Well, there's a company in Wenatchee, Washington that actually has done just that. And they're actually called Grapels. Now, Grapels are just what they sound like, apples that taste like grapes. The interesting thing about these is they're crunchy just like apples, but they smell and they taste like grapes. Now, how they make them is once these Fuji apples come off the tree, they pick these particular apples, the Fuji apple, because the skin is a little bit more absorbent than other apples. So for instance, the skin of a Fuji apple absorbs more of the air and the flavors around it than any other apple, like a Jonagold or a Granny Smith. So they take these apples and they put them in like a big tub or a big vat of Concord grape juice or a brine that is flavored with Concord grapes. What happens is the Concord grape flavor starts to get into the apple so that it affects the smell and the taste and the texture of the apple. It still remains pretty crunchy, but it's an amazing taste. So if you have a chance this week, this week is obviously grapes, but if you have a chance, pick up some Grapels at the grocery store and test some for yourself. Grapes have been around for thousands of years, right? The Egyptians, the Romans, the Greeks, the Europeans, they've all been eating grapes for centuries. But the earliest record of grapes actually comes from Egyptian tombs. They actually had record of grapes written on some of the Egyptian tombs and on some papyrus, the papers that Egyptians, or the stories, and things like that the Egyptians used to tell. And so we know that grapes have been around for centuries. Now, one thing that's been discovered recently, actually in about 2010, from a scientist that went to Harvard, he actually found that grapes, particularly, I'm going to bite one and show you, particularly the skin of grapes. See if I can peel a little bit off. This purple skin of grapes has something really amazing in it called resveratrol. Now, resveratrol is something that we've learned about before. Do you remember a couple weeks ago we talked about something called phytonutrient? That means a plant nutrient. Now, plants have different colors. And you remember how we talked about the different colors represent different things called polyphenols. All that means is they're different colors. So because this is this dark, beautiful purple, that's the resveratrol in these dark grapes. Now, resveratrol does something really cool for your body. I'm going to move right over here just for a second to tell you. You remember my friend Bob. Now, if we were to look at our body, we would see all sorts of veins that help carry the blood to different parts of our body, different muscles, to our brain, to our arms, to our legs. Every part of our body needs blood to survive. Blood carries oxygen, it carries our cells, all sorts of things. Now, our blood goes through little pathways called veins, right? Or blood vessels. Now, if you look through here, it's quite a big blood vessel, and the blood could flow through really easily. Obviously, that's pretty big, right? If you look at your arm, our blood vessels aren't that big, but blood vessels can actually change size. So when we look at a blood vessel that's bigger, it's actually called dilated. So during the day, certain actions that you do or even foods that you eat can change the size of your blood vessel. So your blood vessel could dilate according to what you eat or according to how you exercise. Now, your blood vessels can also constrict according to what you eat and how you exercise and how you choose to live your day. Now, come over to the sink and I'm going to show you a little bit about blood flow through the blood vessels. So, if we were going to take this dilated blood vessel and try to get the blood to flow through, let's see how easily it goes through. We're going to turn on the water. Great, that's fantastic, right? It's not putting any pressure on the sides of the blood vessel walls. We've got plenty of room to have all that blood go through. Now, that's the dilated blood vessel. What if we took the constricted blood vessel? And I'll tell you a little bit about those in just a minute. If we took that same blood vessel, but it's constricted or tight, think about a snake, like a boa constrictor, and if it was really tight and it's trying to make something smaller, this might be a little bit what happened. The water's going through, the blood's going through, but it's actually going to create a little bit of pressure on the sides of the blood vessel wall so that it can all get through. right? So a constricted blood vessel has a little bit of a harder time getting that blood through. The number two thing it does is your heart is having to pump a lot harder to get that blood vessel or get the blood to the same place in the body. So there's lots of benefits to being able to have these blood vessels be different sizes, okay? Now, if we were to talk about a few things that blood vessels do, not only do they carry your blood, we talked about the benefits of that, but as we eat different types of things that affect our blood vessels, resveratrol actually helps to helps to dilate, remember, get bigger. I'm gonna bring this just so you remember. Resveratrol helps to dilate the blood vessel so that the blood pumping from your heart goes to the parts of your body without any problem. All right? So certain foods that you eat can affect parts of your body in really miraculous ways. Just by eating healthy foods, it can affect your blood vessels, it can affect your cells, it can affect your muscles and your brain and all sorts of things. So grapes have not only resveratrol that's beneficial, but it also has lots of vitamins and mineral and fiber. So the inside white part has a lot of fiber as well. That's really healthy for your body and helps your intestines, right? So beyond those, grapes are fantastic and they taste delicious. I'm going to show you just a quick way that you can get grapes into your diet this week, and I hope you'll want to try it. So for the recipe this week, we're actually going to make something called a yogurt fruit parfait. It's one of my favorite snacks. So I just took the fruits that I had on hand. You can pick any one you like, but today it's going to be grapes and apples. And all we're going to do is we're going to start out by putting a little bit of yogurt. Remember how we talked about yogurt has a lot of great protein and even some healthy fat? Really, really good for you. Good, and again, make sure that you read the labels on the yogurts. Find out how much sugar's in there. Find out the ingredients. See if there's high fructose corn syrup or see if they have regular sugar. Read the ingredients of your yogurt and find out what's in it. So once we put the yogurt as a base layer, it's really fun to start adding some of your favorite fruits. Right? If you have strawberries, put those in there. Oranges are really good. Bananas are delicious. But I have these two today, so I'm going to add grapes, then a few apples. Then what I did is I took some of my favorite cereal. I really like Life cereal and granola. So I mixed some of these together. I'm just going to sprinkle them right on top. Gives it a fun little crunch. Now, then you add your favorite seeds. So mine happen to be sunflower seeds. You could do macadamia nuts, you could do walnuts, you could do almonds. These also add a lot of protein and a lot of healthy fats, especially the omega-3s we talked about last week. So really healthy for you. Then add a little bit more yogurt on top, just to cover it, make it look pretty, right? Then add a few more to garnish the top. Okay, just add a little bit of that granola and a few nuts. And there you have your yogurt fruit parfait.